Hello, this is Lino Tadros again, and this is part 2 of the module builder to show you a short video regarding how to change some of the configuration in the back end of Sitefinity for that new custom module. So let's go ahead and get started. So far in part 1 we show you how to create the module, how to display it inside of the widget that was automatically created for us. But there is something else that is very interesting. If I go to content and I go to human resources, notice in here, this is the grid for the employees that we created in the part 1. And you'll notice like the news, the blogs, the events, you get the title, you get the last modified, the created on, today by Lino Tadros, and you have actions that you can actually do. But there is all this white space in the middle in there I wish we could actually take advantage of. For instance, in news and blogs, it is not easy to actually add more columns to this grid. You'll have to do it in TypeScript inside of an application called admin app, and go ahead and being able to compile that into JavaScript and take the JavaScript and put it into the admin app folder of your website. It's a lot of work, but for custom modules, we're very lucky. We actually can make this change very, very easy to add more columns so I can get more information right here in the grid without having to click on the title and get into the record and read and then exit and go to the next record to get more information. All this information could be right here in the grid itself. Not only that, if I click on the CEO, for instance, or I create a new one, notice when I use news, blogs, events, anything in the built-in, you cannot really change the order of how all these fields are displayed. For instance, the title would be first name, and then last name. If I ever want to put the photo right underneath the title, for instance, for news and blogs, that will be difficult. You'll have to do also that in TypeScript and compile it in the admin app and do a lot of work for that. But with custom module, that actually is very easy as well. Let me go ahead and show you how to make all these changes. I'm going to go back to my module builder. We should have the human resources ready for us right there. And once I click on the human resources to get into this active module, there are a lot of different things that I can do in here. First of all, like we said before, we can activate and deactivate the human resources at any time. I can also click on the employees type, and maybe I would like to add more fields. Maybe I forgot a couple of fields like Skype ID or something like this for the employee human resources information. You are more than welcome to go ahead and open up employees and add more fields if you want to. Also, for the human resources, it doesn't have to have only one type called employee. I can actually add content type, and I can create executives. I can create, so you don't have to do the whole thing in one sitting. You can definitely come back and actually make your module better and better and add more types and change things. That's not a problem at all. You can also change the name of human resources to something else or the description. But the one I'm interested in for this video is to show you the backend screen tweaks in here, which is a great feature that it's not easy to do with built-in ones like news and blogs and so on. So let me click on that. And there would be two different things that you can change: the grid, the listing of the employees, and also the creation and the updating of existing employees in the backend itself. I'm going to start with the grid itself. Let's add remove columns. And this is what we usually have right there. We have a title, we have an action, we have an author, last modified, and created on. But look at this on the right side. We have all these fields and columns in the database itself. So it will be great, for instance, if I drag the first name and put it right here next to the title. Maybe we'll get the last name and put it right here next to the first name. Let's go ahead and have the selected choice. We'll actually have the choice right there. And even the photo, because we said only one photo, the photo will show up right there inside of the grid itself. Isn't that cool? You can also add whatever you want in here in the grid itself. All right, let's go ahead and save the changes. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and do the creation and editing of employees. Let me reorder the fields. This is how out of the box it will look like. The title first name, last name, selected choice, and then we'll have the photo, and then we have the extra more options and the URL name inside of that as well. If I ever want to have the photo, for instance, like the related media, right underneath the title, you are more than welcome to bring the related media right there and grab the photo and put it underneath it. And now we will end up having the title, then the photo. So the reordering is much easier. Just drag and drop to make all that stuff happen. I can even create my own title. Let's go ahead and right here, and we'll say right before the first name and last name, I can say edit this, and instead of personal, we'll say personal info or something like that. Okay, and you can choose it to be collapsed by default, or you turn it off, it will be expanded by default so you can see everything without having to click on the plus sign or anything. So we'll say save the changes. Now, hopefully, if I go back to my content and if I go to the grid, let's click on human resources, the grid will look much different now, will be much more useful to read. You see, that is the CEO, that is Joe Smith, the second choice was chosen, that is the photo, and everything else that was available. And you even have more spaces to put more and more columns from the database directly into the grid itself. Much easier than having to click on the CEO and then see all this information. Make sense? So now if I click on create an employee or update an existing one, both of them have seen now that the image will go all the way to the top. Let's click on the CEO and there it is. You see the title, and then we have a related media for the photo. And then we have personal info that expanded by default. I can actually collapse it. I can bring it back up again. See that? So I can actually do all of these things in here as well. Not only that, but I can actually do it on a brand new employee. It will have the same thing, the title. The photo will be second, and then the first name and last name with the personal info collapsible as well. So it's a great feature to be able to really change the configuration of the grid in the backend or the order of the columns and fields in a database in the view for the creation or the updating as well. Hopefully this was useful to you, and we'll see you again soon in another video on Lino TV. Thank you.